Good afternoon, everyone. This is Karl F. Rose recording live from Bedford, Pennsylvania on Thursday, October 27th, 2022. And yesterday, I guess the owner of the Detroit Lions, Sheila Ford Sheila Ford Hemp came out and spoke a little bit to the press briefly. Now, before I get going on that, I just want to explain. I'm going to be doing my podcast more about sports in general, but I will talk about the Lions and the Red Wings, also the Buffalo Bills and the Sabres, and mainly football and hockey, and mainly Buffalo and Detroit. But if there's anything other, big news with other teams, I will be talking about that. But anyway, let's get back to the what I was going to get at on this with Sheila Ford and the Lions. My biggest beef with both her mother and father were that, especially the father. The Lions have always been tight-lipped. We're always tight-lipped under William Clay Ford. He was an absolute nightmare of an owner. His wife, I give her credit. Her heart was in football, and she kind of sort of gave some statements, but really, she loved the game and she loved the team, but she really had no clue about running the team. And still, the jury's still out as far as Sheila Ford's going, but she's got the education. She's got the master's degree in business. Her dad had a degree too, but in his other ventures, he was a failure at everything he did. You can look that up on Wikipedia and find out what a terrible businessman he was all across the board. But that's beside the point. One thing that the Lions have done over and over again prior to Sheila Ford was that they were playing musical chairs with coaches and front office and that. Well, what I got out of her 2-minute or whatever 4-minute thing is that she's sticking with Dan Campbell. She's sticking with the upper management. And even though they're 1-5 and they've got they're the worst team in football. Let's face it. They have good pieces there, but it's not a complete unit all the way across the board. But her message was that basically she's sticking with the upper management, which they've revamped, and she's sticking with the general manager and Dan Campbell as coach, and that's a start. That's a step in the right direction. I know Dan Campbell isn't the greatest coach in the world, and he's made some blunders, but he is a young coach, and that's to be expected. But when you're changing coaches, when you're changing playbooks and a style over and over again, you're never going to go anywhere. So I see where she's going at. Hopefully Dan Campbell can get some things right. We'll just have to wait and see. She said there's more games in the season. Yeah. Personally, I don't even know if they're going to reach 3 wins this year, but who knows? Anything can happen. But the idea was to be a better team than they were 3-14 last year. I mean, at least 6-11. That's better. It's not great, but it's better. So they need to find out, get 5 wins somewhere in the rest of this year. They might do it. They do. Who knows? But I'm not expecting much. Not with Jared Goff as their quarterback, and that's the last thing I want to get on and touch on is. And I think And what she was talking about was a draft, and I see the direction. What I'm getting at is, I don't think Jared Goff is going to, he might be around next year, but um, I think pretty much to groom the incoming quarterback. I expect them to pick a quarterback, maybe not in the first round, but they do. What they really need is a quarterback who can get out of the pocket, move around, like a Patrick Mahomes kind of quarterback, or the quarterback on the Eagles. What's his name? Justin, whatever it is. That's what they need, and because they do have weapons, but they're all hurt. And that's another thing I want to touch on is why are the Lions the most injured team in football? And instead of firing the head coach and the general manager, I would be looking at the training, the fitness and training personnel, maybe get some better staff there. But Dan Campbell had said, and this is one thing that kind of ticked me off about Dan Campbell. He said that he looked into the injuries and he's standing pat. He's not making a change. He didn't see any kind of fall. Well, when you're the week in and week out, the most injured team on the field, there's got to be something wrong. So he needs to make some changes. The team needs to make some changes there when it comes to preparing for games and being ready physically as well as emotionally. I think emotionally they're ready for every game. I mean, Dan Campbell is good at that, but it's the physical part that needs to be fixed, and so they need to look in that area. But as bad as they are, and I think, and as much as I hate to say this, I think Sheila Ford is doing the right thing, keeping the front office intact and trying to establish a consistency. This is what you see with better teams. They have a front office and a head coach and things that have been in place for years, and I think that's what she's trying to do, which is a breakaway from what her parents were doing. They were just kind of changing things like people change their underwear, and that'll never work in the NFL. But they definitely need to do some things differently, starting in the front office. But I think they need to address the injuries, and that's the biggest thing. Anyway, well, that's about it. We will talk to you next time. Have a good day.